So how do you reconnect with your wife without chasing? Welcome back to the Secure Husband Podcast. Bruce Abbott, certified professional coach and founder of SecureHusband.com, the podcast where men stop chasing love from fear and start leading their lives and marriages from wholeness, truth, and strength. Most of the men that I work with, they still want their wife. They still love her. They still want to hold her. They long for connection, for affection, for closeness, for warmth. But something's shifted. She's pulled back. You don't know how to reach her anymore. And every time you try, she tenses up and you feel rejected again. And maybe you've been listening to this podcast and are wondering, well, how do I reconnect without chasing? How do I offer love without looking needy? How do I pursue her without making her feel pressured? The answer is to heal yourself first. And then from that secure place, you give what only a healed man can give. Connection. You provide emotional safety that doesn't collapse. And you're able to give affection from overflow, not emptiness. And it's when you heal, that's when you become a grounded, strong, emotionally safe man who can love without losing himself. Because here's the truth. If your affection is coming from emptiness, she will feel it. And it will not feel good to her. And you might think you're being loving by reaching for her hand or rubbing her back at night or saying, I love you, or trying to cuddle or doing nice things. And many women listening to this podcast will go, oh my God, I wish my husband would do that. But the thing about this particular situation is you're not doing this from a place of giving because you want to. It's a giving to get. You're saying, I love you because you want to hear, I love you too, back. You're trying to cuddle because you want her to maybe get in the mood a little. You're doing nice things, not because you want to do nice things for her, but you're trying to earn that affection. So those things on their own are wonderful things. But when they're done with the intention of people-pleasing and giving to get as part of some unwritten, unspoken contract, those actions are loaded with the message, please connect with me so I can feel better. And she won't relax into that. She'll just pull away more. And it's not because she's cold, and it's not because she doesn't care, it's because she doesn't feel safe, and it doesn't feel clean. It feels like pressure, and pressure kills connection. And so when you heal yourself, your affection comes from a different place. Because if you're full of love and rooted in self-worth and spiritual connection, you can give warmth without needing it back. And that really is the foundation of being the secure husband. That's what this process is all about. And that first step is just noticing the difference between giving and needing. Ask yourself this. Am I offering affection freely, or am I trying to get a response? And do I feel disappointed when she doesn't reciprocate? Just ask yourself, am I showing up as a man who wants to share love, or as a wounded little boy trying to earn love? This is where honesty is key. You got to be honest with yourself. And you have to stop and just ask yourself the tough questions. Because if your connection attempts are really about getting reassurance, she'll feel it. But when your affection is an extension of who you are, an overflow of love, so much self-love that you have love to give, it's not a transaction to get something. It becomes safe again. And she can emotionally trust that and relax into that. So that first step is just noticing where you're giving from lack versus where you're giving from love. And then you can start to heal. You heal so that you can love without demanding. You begin doing that inner work. You start meeting that little boy inside who never felt cherished. You start tending to the wounds of rejection and abandonment and invisibility. And you replace those false core beliefs that I need her to love me to feel okay. Because when you've healed that part of you that needed to be chosen to feel valuable, you no longer need love to prove your worth. You bring love because you know your worth. And that energy is like oxygen to your wife. She's probably spent years feeling the silent pressure of your disappointment. But when you start showing up, you show up calm, full, affectionate, but not needy, she starts to feel safe again. And that's a message I preach over and over in these podcasts. And no, it's not going to be instant. It's going to take some time, but it will be deep and not superficial. From there, that seed of reconnection is planted. Now, how do you do this on your own? You don't get to overflow without being filled. And that's why it's so important to connect to a higher power for unconditional love. God, the universe, your higher self, whatever is comfortable for you. You stop looking to your wife as your emotional well. You stop trying to use her response as your mirror. And instead, you connect to a place that never dries up. For me, it's a strong faith in God. And this, again, is not about organized religion or going to church. This is about something that demonstrates unconditional love, the voice of love and truth inside of you, whatever you call it. It is the source of love that you've been trying to get through your marriage. And I know sometimes it sounds really woo-woo, but you stop saying, I need her to hold me. And you start living from, I'm held already, and I have love to give. And that's how you stop chasing love from her. And you start living in it. And that begins this shift that she can feel. And sometimes she can feel it immediately. When you begin to offer non-sexual affection from overflow, I mean, this is hugs without hinting for sex. This is to be able to give affection and a hug without turning it sexual. You're able to give words of affirmation without neediness and without need to hear those words of affirmation right back at you. And you give her a softness without an agenda, and you give her a presence without this pressure, because you're no longer using affection as a strategy to get sex or validation or attention. You offer it because it's who you are now. And this kind of affection says, I see you, and you matter to me, even if we're not physically close at this moment. And I enjoy giving you comfort, and I don't need anything back right now to feel okay. And there's an energy to that. It's an energy that's healing. It's an energy that's, well, it's often rare. And that's what begins to reverse the freeze in your marriage, because it makes her feel considered and not worshipped or feared. You're equals. This is where men often get stuck. They go from detached to desperate, and they start putting their wife on a pedestal. Her actions are everything. Her behaviors are everything. If she just loved me again, I'd be okay. I just want to make her happy, even if I'm not happy. Happy wife, happy life. But pedestal energy is still pressure, and she feels that pressure because it's still about you. And instead, you consider her with dignity, and you're able to say to her that, I see you're hurting. I know I haven't made it safe before, but I want to offer presence without expectation, just to rebuild trust, just one moment at a time. And you stop needing her to be your source of love. And you start becoming a man she can actually feel safe near again. Because no woman opens to a man she feels she has to carry emotionally. She does not want to be your mother. But she often will soften to a man who finally stands with strength and empathy. And this is not easy to do. And this takes a lot of practice. And it takes time. And you have to stay consistent, even if she stays guarded. Because the truth is, she might not trust this new version of you right away. She may question it and wonder, okay, what is he up to? And she might continue to stay guarded for a while. That doesn't mean it's not working. It doesn't mean that you're failing. Think of it as a seed planted. When you plant that seed, you don't see anything for days, weeks, maybe months, but you keep watering it. You keep nourishing it. And eventually, that seed starts to sprout. And so when you don't see change happening right away, again, don't assume that it's not working. And don't assume that you're failing. It may mean that her nervous system is still healing from years of pressure and disappointment and disconnection. So your job is to stay steady and just let your love be gentle, warm, secure, non-reactive, not performative, certainly not transactional. And the last thing that you need to do is point out, look, I'm changing. Why aren't you? Because you will self-sabotage your progress. Just be consistent, and that'll melt the freeze. That's what creates emotional safety, and that's what begins to invite her back into connection, not on demand. You don't want to bring your wife back by begging. You bring her back by becoming grounded in love and anchored in purpose and calm under pressure. You become emotionally safe and full, not from her validation, but from your own healing and self-love. And it's from that place you offer affection and presence and comfort, not because you're hoping she'll finally give you something, but because you've already found what you were missing. That's what the Secure Husband process is all about. I hope this podcast has been helpful to you. If so, please give it a review. Hit that subscribe button for more Secure Husband episodes. Share this episode with someone who you think may need to hear this. And visit securehusband.com for more resources and to book one-on-one coaching with me. And I'll see you again on the next Secure Husband podcast. Thanks for listening.